Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dan here, and today we're going to be doing some more Unity 3D stuff. In this episode, I'm mostly going to be covering enemy-related stuff like fixing this trigger sphere, and we're going to be covering patrolling AI so we can have our guy patrol between two different points, possibly even more. And we're also going to cover him shooting at the player. So let's go ahead and get started. If you've been following along, you should have something along the lines of what we've got here. Uh, and yeah, that's about it. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the programming that we're going to need. So first off, you're going to want to open your enemy movement script, because we're going to start with making our guy patrol. So what we're going to do is we're going to need three new variables. First, we're going to need var patrolling, which is a boolean, and set that equal to false. Darn you, mono developed something to make me do stuff I don't want to. And next, we're going to need var patrol tar, which is going to be a transform. So what this is it's a transform, but we've attached two of these brackets right here. So what this is setting it as is it's going to be a transform array. So instead of it just being one transform stored under this variable, we can have multiple different transforms stored just under patrol tar. I'll explain it more when we get back into Unity. And our last variable for patrolling, we're going to need current tar. As I've said in the past, you don't need to really work with these names. You just need to know to change them whenever you get the specific points that the variable is being called. So if you want to name this, I don't know, flying pixies or something, which would make no relevant sense, but go ahead. And for current tar, you can just int and set that equal to nothing. So these are the three variables we'll need for the patrolling. And what we need to do now is, where is it? Okay. Right here. Else, we're going to change it to else if. So else, obviously, is if it isn't this, then we're going to call this, but we're also setting a parameter as well. So else if isn't patrol. Hit cap locks, darn it. Okay, so what this is doing is basically, if the target is equal to null, then it's going to do this, but it also needs to be so that we are not patrolling, because last thing we need is for him to be patrolling and then just call some random position to move to, because that isn't really what patrolling is. It's more like you move between two different points, and you move back and forth between them. So that's that, and then what we need to do is down here we need to create a new if statement. If patrolling and current tar is less than patrol tar dot length, and target is equal to null. Okay, so what this is doing is if we are patrolling and our current tar, which is an int, is less than patrol tar dot length, and what dot length is doing is it's converting the number of transforms we have stored under this variable into an integer, so therefore we can call it with this, and if target is equal to null. Simple enough. So then what we're going to do is we're going to do transform dot get component, and I butchered that, nav mesh agent dot destination is equal to patrol tar, the brackets, since it's an array and I don't know where that went. And then inside of these brackets, we're going to do current tar. So basically what this is we're going to have multiple patrol target variables stored under this, we're going to have multiple transforms stored under this variable. And the only way we're going to be able to differentiate between these ones is if we use an integer. So current tar is going to be the integer we're going to use to figure out which one we're moving to. And then after these brackets, we're going to do dot position. And obviously this is the same thing as this up here. For the most part, we have the component attached to our object, and we're setting it, the parameter equal to a variable that we have in here. So next we're going to hit enter twice or once or how many times you want to do it. And we're going to create an if statement, and if inside of the parentheses we're going to do transform dot position dot x is equal to patrol tar current tar dot position dot x. And we're just going to go ahead and copy what we've already written because it'll take a while to redo it. And we're just going to paste it after the and change the x's to z's. And then we're going to close it off with some brackets. And inside of the if statement, we're going to do if current tar is less than patrol tar dot length. Inside of the brackets, we're going to do current tar plus plus. So if current tar is less than patrol tar dot length, then it will add 1 to our current tar. Basically, this is designed so that way whenever he reaches the position that we have set, if it is not the last one we have in the transform, then it'll add 1 and then he'll go to the next position. If it is the last one, we'll get to that right now. If current tar is equal to patrol tar dot length, then we're going to reset current tar back to 0. So this will get us the patrolling that we want. So I believe that's everything. Yep. You can go ahead and minimize it. I'll come back into Unity. And if we select our enemy and scroll down, we'll see that we now have patrol tar, and it has this little drop down arrow and it has size. If we set this to 2, then it'll create 2 parameter things that we can implement, we can put stuff into. So I'm going to go ahead and create 2, well, I'm going to just create 1 and just copy it. Patrol tar 1 0 0 0 and move this one over here so that's still on the platform. Yes, I'm going to set this one to 2 there. So if we go back to our enemy, scroll back down to where these are at, we put one of our positions you want them to go to in 1, and then we put the other one in there. And if we select patrol, well, patrolling, and then we hit play, as you can see, he's moving towards that position, and then he moves back over to our other one and repeats the process over and over and over again. And as you can see here, these are fluctuating between 0 and 1, as we have set in the script. So he will infinitely move back and forth between these positions unless I interfere. Then he will chase after me, and I died. Wonderful. Okay, so that's patrolling out of the way. Next thing I think we should probably cover before we do the shooting is fixing the sphere, because if we do shooting, he might kill himself by firing, and that's not what we want. So what we're going to do right now to fix the problem is we're going to go up to game object, create empty, and I'm just going to name this something simple like tag sphere. And we're going to drag it on top of our enemy, and we're going to position it directly on him at the origin. And what we're going to do now is make sure you have it selected and attach a sphere collider to it. And we're going to make the radius 4, like the other one. And make sure it's a trigger. Now we're going to reselect the enemy and remove the sphere collider. So now we have the tag sphere as a sub thing to our enemy. And what we're going to need to do now is we're going to create a new script that will cooperate with our enemy movement script, so that way it'll send messages basically to the main script to say, oh, we've been shot, or we've entered into this specific place and we need them to go follow the player or something. So we're going to need a new script. So you go ahead and create JavaScript, and I'm going to just name it enemy tag. You can name it whatever you want, just like usual. It's just you have to make sure whenever we're doing specific things, you're going to need to make sure you use the same name as you did for other stuff. And you can go ahead and open it. Why does it always do this? There we go. And what we're going to need to do now is just remove all of this like usual. We don't typically need it. And we're going to need one variable. And this is going to be parent. And it's going to be a game object. And now we're just going to need function on trigger enter. And similar to the other ones, we're going to do col is collider. And inside of the function, we're going to do if col dot darn you col not color game object dot tag is equal to player parent dot get component enemy movement dot target is equal to col dot transform. Okay, so what this is doing is if our tag trigger collider thing that we just set up, if it collides with a game object with the tag player, then it's going to go to parent, which we'll have set as our enemy. It's going to get the component, which is the script that we've created. And it's going to take its target variable and set it equal to the collider transform. So similar to what we did with the nav mesh agent, we're doing this. And instead of making things a static variable, the problem with that would be is if that were the case, it would set all of the enemy's target to be the player, which is not what we want. We just want it to remain localized within the single thing we've created. So that's that. And what we could do now is just copy it, paste it below, and we're going to replace enter with exit and change the target equal to null. So there we go. This is all we need for this script. it's relatively simple. We basically just took a piece out of the script in here. Let me scroll down. And we just put it in here. So what we can do now is remove the player versions inside of here. And we can completely remove this function actually. There we go. So all you need is just the on-trigger enter for when he gets shot and dies. And everything else will be in here, so that way we can, you know, we don't have to worry about his larger trigger sphere being shot at and killing him. So you can go ahead and minimize this and return back to Unity. And what we're going to do is go back to your tag sphere, drag the enemy tag script onto there, take your enemy and attach it to the parent variable. And what it'll do now is we walk into here. As you can see, he's following me, which means that it works. And if I as you can see, I'm firing really close to him, but it's not registering that I'm shooting him and it's not killing him. But, you know, I can still kill him there. And so that's that. And then lastly, what we'll need to do is make it so that way he can shoot at us. So for that, we're just going to need our enemy movement script again. So you can go ahead and close the enemy tag. We don't need it anymore. And I just need to pull back up the my other script. There we go. And what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need, why won't it let me scroll? There we go. We're going to need another 3 variables. First, we're going to need var projectile, like we did in the player movement, which is going to be a game object. We're going to need the bullet spawn, like we did with the player as well. And that's going to be a transform. But the one thing we are going to need for this is, considering it's not being like we're clicking and firing, we need him to have a specific time frame to be, you know, between each shot, or else he'll just be firing them off as fast as he can and probably cause the game to crash or something. So we're going to need a countdown. It's going to be an int. We're going to set that equal to 50. So what we're going to do now is up here, right here where we register if he comes in contact with the player, we're going to do transform dot look at target. So what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that the enemy is constantly facing the target no matter what. So therefore he will be able to fire at us without, you know, firing off in some random direction because of how things will work. Below this, we're going to need count down minus minus. So if the target isn't equal to null, we're going to look at the target and we're going to count down. Below that, we're going to need another if statement. Count down is less than or equal to 0. What we're going to do is we're going to do var bullet is a game object and is equal to instantiate. And then in here we're going to do our projectile, comma, bullet spawn dot position, comma, bullet spawn dot rotation. So we're basically taking the same thing from our player script, but we're fitting it so that way it'll work with the enemy instead. Below that, we're going to do bullet dot rigid body dot add force, and we're going to add a force of transform dot forward multiplied by 1500. And then below that, we're going to reset countdown back to its original number, in this case 50. I mean, you can adjust these, but you just need to make sure that they're the same for both times. And yeah, that's it for the scripting. All we need to do now is just add the boolet spawn. So game object, create other, boolet spawn, attach it to our enemy, and position it. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to make sure that on the z-axis, or the blue arrow, we're going to move it out, because this is the way he's facing. So what we're going to do now is return back to our enemy, the main part, and down here we're going to fill in the variables. So for bullet spawn, well, for projectile, we're going to put our projectile prefab. For bullet spawn, we're going to take the one for our enemy and put it there. And now if we hit play, as you can see, he's not firing. He's still patrolling. But if I go ahead and quickly get in here, as you can see, he's now firing at me. They don't do anything yet. We could cover that later, but as you can see, he is firing at me, and we can make these kill me in a later date. But as of right now, this tutorial is already getting pretty long, so I'll just quickly cover it in maybe like a 5-minute one later this week. So yeah, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and if you've got any other ideas for different things, I have noted all the suggestions up to this point, and I will likely cover most, if not all of them. I hope that everything I've covered in this tutorial up to this point has benefited you in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah, as I say at the end of every video, please like, comment, subscribe, leave your suggestions below. I will be happy to take a look at them and possibly use them in the future. That's about it. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and remember, have a good day.